Hello and welcome. I was adding on to the note card challenge and decided to make it the notebook challenge adjustment. I wrote down my question for the day is, what do I do when I feel the big feelings, whether it's heavy, tense, tight, overwhelm, anger, irritation, outrage, but also joy, compassion, love, the good stuff as well. Because there's a lot of days and times where I'm just really feeling a lot and I don't know what to do. And so I was just jotting down what I tend to do in my practice, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order. You can choose all of the above, or you can choose one or choose your own list. But I wrote down move, sit and breathe, write, and communicate. Move, sit and breathe, write, and communicate. With the idea that these are tools to help me feel what I'm feeling. Because a lot of times there's just so much popping off in my head that it's hard to even figure out what I'm feeling. I'll just sometimes if I have to describe it, I'll just say I'm feeling a lot. I'm feeling a lot. Because that's not necessarily bad. I'm feeling the good feelings in there too, and I know the new Inside Out movie is out, but the original Inside Out seemed to capture it well when I would take that moment to pause and just see, who was in there, what was surfacing. And so the way I broke it down is I like this order, but you can pick whatever order that works for you. But move, then sit and breathe, write, and communicate. And so for movement, a lot of times my time is limited. So I have 5 minutes to go through some stretches, to go through some qigong, to go through some yoga postures in my kitchen, or just grab the dog and get outside for a walk. I know my brain starts to sort things out better when I'm moving. Even if I'm just pacing back and forth, if I'm outside, moving in nature, or in my kitchen, just taking some big breaths with movement, to at least carve out some time for that, because it's really hard for me to sit and breathe if I'm feeling really scattered. If I haven't taken that time just to, it's like when you're a little kid, just to get the wiggles out, just to move, get the wiggles out. And sometimes I do this for my movement too, which feels great. It's really hard for me to sit and have a meditation practice, have a breath practice, to try to calm and sort until I moved. But then the next step usually is to sit. And again, sometimes I have 30 seconds outside of the courtroom or outside of on a park bench just to sit. Sometimes it's nice to have a dedicated meditation time where I do have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes carved to sit and breathe. Because when the brain's in the allot mode, I really can't function well unless I sort through it. So a lot of times the meditation practice, it's not about making those thoughts go away. It's more like a filter. It's like I'm putting them through the strainer, or maybe some type of examination, microscope perhaps, but I'm just sitting with them. I'm not trying to change them. So it's just breathing in. Then I actually ask myself, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? What's popping up? And just I allow those thoughts, be like, ooh, I'm feeling a lot of stress. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. What's the underlying cause? And it's that time for self-reflection. And yeah, so whatever sitting practice, if you're looking for any meditation I know I have some on here, I have some elsewhere, and if you have the World Wide Web, there's no shortage of meditation options available. I encourage you to find what works for you. And then another way to process the allots is writing. This has been super helpful, and it's the practice I probably most easily get away from, even though it's so effective. Isn't that funny? We or at least I know what will be good for me. And it's hard to stay on top of those practices. But there's a book called The Artist's Way where there's an initial practice of just writing for 3 minutes. Doesn't matter what is coming to your head. It doesn't have to be, it can just be blah, 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 blah. A lot of times I just kind of write in bullet points, just what am I feeling? I write the date, and I'm not trying to tell a story or anything, just making bullet points, be like, feeling a little overwhelmed today, feeling pretty good today. This is what's happening. It took every ounce of effort to get AJ on the bus, or it took, X, Y, and Z to deal with people at work, or here's what is surfacing. And good stuff too. Here's what's happening in my relationship. Here's what's happening with my family and friends. And then I'll even jot the questions down too. For me, I get overwhelmed a lot by existential anxiety. There's a lot of times where you can go in my notebook or journal, and the question is just, why am I here? What's happening? Why is there a universe? And for me, it's helpful to write down, well, perhaps I don't get to know, because I certainly don't anticipate having an answer in the very near future, but I can be grateful for what I have. Despite the uncertainty, I show up with compassion and love, and that way I'm really grounding the mind and the body. After the movement practice, after the breath practice, and again, these can be 5-minute chunks. All this can be done in 20 minutes, or it can be over a period of a week. Just using the pen and the paper to really ground in, to sort through the allots that are surfacing in the brain. Like there's a lot, there's overwhelm, there's chaos, and I'm just writing it down. And then I think I write half the time, breathe in, breathe out, and then I write love despite it all. Because, there's so many times throughout the day I get frustrated. There's so many times where I want to react out of anger. There's feelings of disbelief that there's still so much violence in this world. There's with all the abundance that we have, that there's a lack of generosity. And that can be really very hard. And so writing that down and then just reminding myself, it's like the individual cheerleader in the brain. It's like, hey, love despite it all. Be love, show up with love, try to manifest love in the heart and in the mind in the practice. And whatever writing, if you like prompts, there's lots of really good prompts out there. If you just want to start with a blank page and just, barf out the words onto the paper, but just get them down. It's just another really nice way to process and then communicate. I'm trying to get better with the relationships in my life, to call people, be intentional. I don't think intentionable is a word, but maybe it is. Be intentional with my checking in, just taking the time to share how I'm feeling. So often I notice, whether it's a professional counselor, whether it's a friend, whether it's my partner, just verbalizing, getting it out, it helps me shift the perspective. And I think all these tools are really great at shifting perspective when I'm in the weeds of what is perhaps overwhelming me or whatever is dominating the thought process. So just communicating, just being intentional and say, hey, there's a lot on my mind. I would love to chat with you. Here's how I'm feeling. And then just being direct that, I'm not really looking for the X's and O's advice. I'm not looking for direct advice, but just want to share how I'm feeling and also invite a response too, which is fine, but you also don't have to invite a response. A lot of this is what works best for you, but we're all in this existence together. We all need each other. And I think when I started doing a lot of these individual wellness practices, I thought I could just heal and cure and maintain myself, without others. And, that really didn't set me up for success. So now taking the opportunity to communicate about these practices, to do these practices with others, and finding time to move with others, to sit and breathe with others, to carve out time to write what I'm feeling. Sometimes I write in my notebook and take a picture of it, and that's my way of sending a letter, or you can go old school letter, which is really nice if you want to combine the writing and the communicating. Yeah, and definitely encourage you to combine all of these and then add whatever works. I know for me, when things are just a lot, maybe one feeling is particularly strong, or I'm just feeling it in my body and can't even quite explain, but I feel like that tense, restricted, tight, overwhelmed, irritated, or even full-on outrage, or the good stuff. If I'm feeling good, joy, love, it's still nice to sort all of this out in a healthy way. So in the one-page journal challenge, also known as the one notecard challenge, I jotted down move, sit/breathe, write, and communicate. I encourage you to pause, whether you have 5 minutes to combine all of these or you have it in 30 minutes or an entire day or a week. Just seeing what practices that you like that help you process, those big, strong feelings in a healthy way. Well, thanks for checking in. We'll see you next time.